What is the right way of dealing or treating this sadness or this frustration is by giving him back his rights. This is how we treat these light and simple illnesses of the heart that every person goes through. This is one type. The second type is the malignant one. And that's the most serious of illnesses. So here we have another classification of the diseases of the heart. One is very light, very simple, but the malignant one is very dangerous, very serious, very destructive. And one of the most serious characteristics of this illness is like tumor. It's like cancer. Most people who have it don't feel the pain until it's too late. People don't feel that pain. And these are the diseases of the heart that have to do with the issues of religion. That's the problem. And they are the ones that we described before. The shahawat, the desires, giving one's desires precedence over Allah's commands. Second one are the doubts and the misconceptions, which include bid'ah, innovation and disbelief, and polytheism, etc. So the problem with these diseases, the second type of malignant diseases, is the person who suffers from this disease does not feel anything about it. That's the problem. The person who has this disease does not feel about it. For example, the disease of sin, loving a sin. Okay, somebody loves adultery. He's fallen into that. He's so much taken by that, and he cannot get out of this trouble, out of this dilemma. But he's happy about it. He doesn't feel it's harmful, but in reality it's very harmful to his heart, and his heart is suffering. But because he has blemished his heart is engulfed with a veil of darkness. The heart cannot see the truth. It's just like, let me give a practical example, people who smoke. People who smoke are so, addicted to smoking, and they know that the more they smoke, the more of smoking they need. A smoker starts with 1 cigarette, then goes 2, 3, 4, until some smokers, smoke up to 60. Some extreme smokers, heavy smokers, they smoke up to 80 cigarettes a day. So the more you smoke, the more smoking you will need. That's the problem. The more disease you take, the more poison of the smoking, of the cigarettes you take, the more you will be inclined to smoke. This is a very harmful and destructive and serious illness. And the more you smoke, the more destruction you will cause to your body. But the person doesn't want to realize. They know deep in their hearts that it's very harmful, but because they have lied to themselves so much, because of the desire, the overwhelming love and attachment and addiction to cigarettes and to smoking, they convince themselves and they twist their own vision of the reality. So they lie to themselves, they convince themselves that it is something good. And this is exactly what happens with the illnesses of sin and bid'ah. With desires, innovations. The person always tries to treat himself with adding more illness to himself of the same kind. For example, someone falls in love with a woman. What caused him to fall in love with that woman? He didn't lower his gaze. He didn't control his sight. He kept looking, staring at women. So he was caught by that one, and he fell in love with that woman. And the more he looks at that woman, the more he stares at her, the more his heart becomes attached to her, the severer his illness or his disease will get. What does he do to treat that illness, that pain that he has in his heart? He falls into adultery. He commits zina. What happens after that? The case gets worse and worse and worse. Why? Because he treated the illness with the same illness itself. The same as people who smoke, they treat their smoking with more smoking. Those who drink, They treat their drinking with more drinking, they cause more harm to their bodies, and they twist their own vision of the reality because of the overwhelming desire, the overwhelming passion for what they are doing, and then they lose track. That's the seriousness of these illnesses. A person falls into innovation. Okay, those who have, for example, ways of remembrance, ways of making dhikr by gathering together, making the same dhikr in a certain way. Some of them shake their heads, some of them dance, some of them start jumping up and down. Some people go to the graves or call upon, certain peers or righteous people who are dead in order to help them or intercede for them, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or people who go to the graves and have their own festivals around the graves. They become so much attached to that, and the more they become inclined to that fitna, to that trial, to that disease, the more it will draw them down, and they will sink down, and the illness will worsen. And the problem is that because of this overwhelming passion, because of the fitna, because the fitna takes control of that person, they become numb, don't feel the pain of that trial, they don't feel that disease, of that illness. Smoking is very harmful to the body, and the body feels that. But the taste or the sweetness, as they describe it, of cigarettes, it overcomes that. So they feel numb about the pain. And that's exactly the most serious disease that could touch the heart, which are the diseases of sins and the desires of innovation. Inshallah, in future episodes, we will focus more on this beautiful subject, and hopefully we will be able to benefit from it and uncover some of the secrets about how to free our hearts from the prison of innovations and sins. Until we meet next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.